Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharyamattyamam Asmadacharyaparyantam Vande Guru Paramparam Akhandam Sachidanandam Avang Manasagocharam Atmanam Akhiladharam Ashraye Bhishta Siddhaye Arthatopyadvayanandan Atitadvaita Bhanataha Guru Naradya Vedanta Saram Vaksheyata Matihi. Okay, so any questions, clarifications on the Shadlinga Vichara and what followed? I thought some of you were supposed to give me a presentation.
Yeah, we are ready.
Oh, wow, good. Nice to hear that. You are ready. Hey. Good, good. Yes, so who is going to start off?
We can start, Swamiji.
I thought Sashi was ready to start off immediately.
Yeah.
Okay, let us give Sashi that chance. Okay.
I did for Mundaka Upanishad.
Okay.
And in the beginning itself, in the second verse,
Yeah.
the word Brahma Vidya appears. Atharvane ya pravadet Brahma, Atharva tam Uruvacha ingere.
Yeah, the parampara is mentioned. Okay. Okay. Okay.
It is coming. And then the beginning and end should be in harmony. In the end also, 1 minute. Yeah, it is correct. Sa yo havai tat param brahma ved brahmaiva bhavati.
Okay.
So that is there. Even the next verse, Tesham evitam brahma vidyam vadeti. Shirovarat. So this is also there. And even the last verse, it says that.
Once again, what are you dealing with now? Upakarma, Upasamhara, Abhyasa. What are you dealing with? Tell me that first.
I am dealing with Brahma Vidya.
Beg your pardon?
Brahma Vidya.
Brahma Vidya is what?
That will come. Now I have only proved.
One second. I understand my question.
Yes, sir.
You are analyzing the Upanishad using Shadlinga Vichara, correct? So what are you starting with? Abhyasa, Upakrama, Upasamhara, Arthavada. What are you doing that?
Yeah. I am starting with that this is about Brahma Vidya, and both in the beginning and in the end.
Therefore, Upakrama, Upasamhara, beginning and end. Okay.
Then repetition.
Go like that. Yes, now you are being more precise. Yeah.
Repetition. This is of course demonstration. Demonstration I have written Yatho Urna Navi Srijate Grahate Ja Yatha Prithvyam Oshme.
Okay, fine. That verse which deals with. Yeah, okay.
And then,
That Brahman is everything. All right, fine. Yeah.
then there is a praise and Arthavad is also there. Pariksha Loka Karma Chitta Brahmano.
That is not Arthavada.
Sorry then.
Arthavada is praise or criticism or telling a story to illustrate something.
Okay. Then criticism I have taken 7th verse. Palva ete adrida yajya rupa ashtodash uktavaram yeshu karma etat shreyo ye abhinandanti mura jara mrityum te punarevipyas.
Okay, you're criticizing. What are you criticizing there?
I am criticizing that only yajna sab dhyan will not do. Again you will take birth.
So only karma will not be enough, right?
Only karma.
Be specific, Sashi. Learn to be more specific. Yeah.
Yeah.
And where is praise coming in?
Yeah, I said. Actually, then again it is the knowledge is tatparya also. Tadetat satyam yatha sudiptat pavaka adi spulinga sesya prabhavante sarupa tatha aksharat vividha soumya bhavo prajayante tatra che aditya. So again Angira says this
What are you demonstrating there? Sparks from the fire. The spark is separate from the fire. So are you demonstrating Jiva is separate from the fire, from Brahman?
We are not separate. Source is the same.
But this spark comes out of the flame. Flame is there, spark comes out.
So in this way, uh,
What are you demonstrating? Straight question, straight answer.
flame is the reality.
The reality is the same, okay?
And we are a part of it. So
A part of it?
we are that.
Yeah. Be careful of the words you use. Yes.
Then, Yasmin Gau Prithvi Cha Askira Mukshota.
Yeah, fair enough. That everything is this thing based on Brahman alone, okay?
Yeah. And then the phrase is, I think it is a phrase only. Vidyate Hriday Granthi Chidyate Sarva Sanchaya Shiyante Chasya Karmani Tasmin Drishte Paravare.
What is that?
That if you know it, so whatever knots we are having,
Fair enough, we understood the meaning. Everyone understands the meaning. What does it
we are not supposed to do with it.
what does it highlight?
It highlights that this should be the only aim.
It
Because,
highlights phalam, result.
yeah, it's
Ah.
then again the repetition comes. Na tatra suryo bhati, na chandra tarakam, nemam vidyuto bhati, kutoyam agni, tameva bhantam anuvati sarvam, tasya bhasa sarva vidam upati.
Okay, I'll accept it for the time
So
being.
it is not a straight statement, it is being repeated again and again. And again, Nayam Atma Pravachanain Nabhyo, Na Medhaya Na Bhavuna Shudena, Yame Vaishya Vrinute Tena Labhyas Tasya Atma Vivrinate Tansva. So, the grace of a teacher is also necessary, grace of Bhagwan is necessary.
So now you are going off. What is the Tatparya? How is that connected to the Tatparya?
And it is not again a straight statement.
One second. Sashi, you are so busy saying what you have to say, you are forgetting my questions. You are not answering my question. My question is simple. In what way is it connected to your Shadlinga Vichara?
Demonstration.
What is being demonstrated and by what?
It is being demonstrated that how do you get it?
Na pravachanena labhya etc. is what?
That only by
One second. Na pravachanena labhya etc. is telling what?
yeah, you cannot get it only
So what will it come under the Shadlinga Vicharas?
it will come.
Who is supposed to help you with this work?
Sharda, she has disappeared.
Sharda has disappeared. She is not there.
So I am actually we were supposed to do it together.
So you should catch her by the throat. You should catch her by the throat next time you meet her.
That I will do.
But what is the statement? Na pravachanena labhya etc. What is it highlighting? What part of the Shadlinga Vichara will fit in?
It is a result. That
Nope.
if you want
It is not result.
not result, originality,
Nope.
okay. Then I don't know.
Can anyone help her? What is it? What will you classify it as in the Shadlinga Vichara? Someone help her, please.
Sundar, you are there, no? Where you are gone?
Who is there?
Sundar.
Sundar is very much here, yes.
But I don't want to help you.
Now what can I do?
I don't know.
Swamiji, could it be Arthapati? Arthavada?
Arthavada, yes, it's Arthavada. Because it is, what does an Arthavada do? Praise, criticism, highlighting,
Yeah.
all that. So all this will come under that. Then you mentioned something in the beginning about The parampara being mentioned, what is that? Where does that fit in?
Parampara will come in beginning, no?
Huh? Where does that fit into in the Shadlinga Vichara?
निम्मा मीर को बोलना प्लीज खिड़की पे पूरा पाउडर
Where does it fit in?
Yes, sir, I'm
Okay, tell me some of the teachers in that parampara. It started with whom?
Dayanandji, Puja Swamiji.
I am talking in Mundaka. The verse that you quoted in the beginning.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
And Puja Swamiji, the parampara did not start with Puja Swamiji. The parampara started with the Lord himself. But in Mundaka, what is mentioned?
Started with Brahmaji.
Ah,
With Brahmaji who gave to his elder son Atharva. And from Atharva it's passed on. That's why.
good. So now, Kavita, wait, let Sashi answer.
Yes, sir, yes.
What does this verse fit into? Is it Abhyasa, it is Upakrama, it is Arthavada, it is Phalam, what is it? You quoted the verse, that's why I'm asking you.
Yeah. It is originality.
In what way did originality come in there?
It has come only from parampara.
Therefore, it has come from the parampara. A lot of things come from parampara. Yoga also comes from parampara. Dance also comes from parampara. Music also comes from parampara. So, what is this highlighting? Sorry, I am putting you on the mat, but it's high time.
No, I am thoroughly enjoying it.
Yeah. So it's high time I put people on the mat now in this class. So now tell me, where does it fit in?
I am seeing the beginning. I'm not able to work out.
Can it be Arthavada? Praise for this knowledge that it has come from the Lord himself?
Yeah, that's it. Yes, sir.
ब्रह्मा जी सिखाया था ये.
Yeah. Brahma Deva Naam Pratama
हाँ.
Vishwasya Karta.
So it is talking of that. Yeah. Can you see where you all are not getting it? That's why I'm making you all do this exercise. So you will get it very correctly. You will know where to fit in what. How will you say apurvata there? Uniqueness? Sorry, you are muted, Sashi. You'll have to unmute yourself. I muted everyone because there was too much of racket coming in between. Yeah.
Apurvata is
Uniqueness.
Yeah, Shruti. It is a part of Shruti that I and Lord are one.
Where does it come in? There is a statement in the Upanishad that you quoted.
Yeah, I quoted 3/4, sir, 1 minute.
Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati, something like that you quoted. That is uniqueness. That is uniqueness because in no other discipline, you don't become an atom if you study about atoms. Thank God.
Yeah, very good point.
Yeah.
I have to write it down. I hope you have no objection to writing it down.
No, write it down, write it down. It's better to write it down rather than forget it. You know, when we used to study from Taranandagiri, we'd be just hearing him, listening to him because he was quite a fast teacher, teach fast. Suddenly he'll stop and say, "Likh lo, nahi to bhul jayenge sab." So similarly, write it down, no problems. Yeah. Okay.
That's all, sir.
Beg your pardon?
That's all.
That's all. Yes, quite a good effort. I know I put you on the mat in a few areas, but a very good effort. Okay, give her a hand. She deserves a hand. Okay, first person to go. Okay.
To all of you.
Okay. Who else would like to say something?
Swamiji, we can.
Yeah, Karthik, tell me.
Swamiji, Vijayaji will, she is going to present for our group. That is herself, Nirmala, Nisha, and me.
Okay.
So she is going to present.
You are all in London?
Not me. I'm here.
You know, the Zoom is a very powerful tool, you know.
Okay. Can I start?
Yeah, yeah, please.
Swamiji, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, all
Okay.
of us can hear you, yeah.
Okay, we have also taken up Mundaka Upanishad to demonstrate how Shringa Vichara is used for the teaching.
Okay.
Upakrama. Kasmin nu bhagavo vijñāte sarvamidam vijñātam bhavati.
Okay.
By knowing which everything in creation is known and understood. Even though it is phrased as a question, it may be viewed as a statement of the subject matter that Upanishad is going to be dealing with. Upasamhara 2.2.12 Brahmaive idam adum amritam purastat Brahma paschat Brahma dakshinat na uttarena etc. etc. etc.
Fair enough.
Verified. All this is immortal Brahman above, below, in front, back, right, it is everywhere. Upapattihi 1.1.7 Yata urnanabhihi srijate grihnate cha. Examples of spider, earth and plants, hair and nails, to how Brahman can both be the nimitta and upadana karana. Arthavada 1.1, 2, 3, all the three verses, the first three verses of the Upanishad. The teaching begins with the glorification of Brahmaji, the Brahmavidya originating from Brahmaji, and is passed through an illustrious Guru Shishya Parampara, right up to Shaunaka, who is a Mahashala. Another example, which is for Arthavada, is the famous two Mundaka birds perched on a tree, which is in the third Mundaka, first and second verses, representing Paramatma and Jivatma. The
This
two
I
birds
forgot
representing
to get, yeah.
Samyataha. All mantras of Dvitiya Mundaka Dvitiya Kataha describe Brahman in various ways. One of the famous examples is that of bow and arrow, 2.2, 3 and 4. Apurvata.
Vijay Lakshmi, this bow and arrow, just explain it.
Okay. Bow and arrow is where the two birds, one is representing Paramatma and another is representing Jivatma. The Paramatma bird is just witnessing quietly, sitting very calm, not making anything, not doing anything. But the Jivatma is eating the fruits. It's sad, it is grieving, and it doesn't know what to do. And it remains, that's why it remains separate. Until in the fourth verse it says how it realizes how serene and Brahman is. And he gets rid of the grief. And there is a Paramatma, Jivatma Aikyam. Is it clear, Sashi?
Sashi has disappeared. Go ahead. This is a problem, you know, when people don't have focus. You asked a question, but then there is something turned up at home, so you're leaving this. I'm sure whatever it is can wait for 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Apurvataha, yat tat adreshyam, agrahyam, agotram, avarnam, etc., etc., etc. The Brahman, which is all pervading, subtlest of the subtle, the imperishable, which is not objectifiable or conceptualized, and the source of all creation. Everything else is anatma with subject-object relationship. Phalam.
Good.
Tarati shokam, tarati papmanam, mukhya grantiyam, that jiva is mukti, and vimuktaha, amritaha bhavati, videha mukti. Om Tat Sat.
Good, nicely done. I think the team has done very nicely. Vijay Lakshmi, Karthik, Nirmala. Who else is with you? Nisha also was there. Okay, okay. Nicely done. Very nicely done. Much more systematic. Yes. Only that example of the bow and arrow was meant for meditation. Okay. Yeah, that's highlighting meditation. Yeah.
Swamiji, can I ask one Kamini also did so more or less the same verses, except what Jaya Lakshmi said,
Sorry, you are not clear.
Can you hear me now?
Better?
Do you hear me now?
You are getting stretched.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, better.
Okay. I and Kamini also did Mundaka Upanishad, so more
Yeah.
or less the same verses.
Yeah.
But only one thing which Vijaya Lakshmi has presented as Upakramano, we have taken it as Arthavada.
Which
so
one?
I wanted to understand,
Tell me,
like
which is
one
that
wanted
verse?
to
Huh?
yeah, the verse whereby Shaunaka asks, that what is that by knowing which everything is known. So she, I think, took it as Upakrama, and I have taken it as Arthavada.
It can be both. Because it starts with the teaching starts there, but it's also a verse of Arthavada. You can take it either way.
Okay.
So this will make you understand that there are no hard and fast divisions. Yeah.
Okay. Because we took Upakrama as whereby the teaching starts, what is Paravidya and Aparavidya.
Okay.
And we took it Upakrama and Arthavada.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to.
So you can shift the post a little bit here and there. Are you all understanding this? Okay.
Yeah.
Sashi, you did something which I am not happy with, okay? Sashi, can you hear me?
She muted.
No, I have done that. Yes,
Okay.
sir, I can hear.
Sashi, you asked a question, and when Vijay Lakshmi was answering, you walked away. This is not done. You ask a question and
I asked the question. Yeah.
and then when Vijay Lakshmi was answering, you just walked away because your maid came and called you. Was it so urgent that it cannot wait for 2 minutes? Number one. Number two, if it couldn't wait,
And I told her,
Sashi, 1 second. Number two, if it couldn't wait, you could have excused yourself a bit. I mean, you are a senior person, you are a teacher, you take lectures. How would you like it if somebody just does that to you? You take corporate lectures. You can't be doing this in a class. When somebody is answering, you walk away. It is a specific question you asked. It was your question. It was not other people's question. You can't do that. Yeah. You can take this as praise, criticism, whatever you want. Okay. 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 Kavita, anything else you want to add?
No, more or less same process. Okay.
Yeah.
Repetition and phalam, we have taken the last word. So those are the things, but I think she's covered because we have taken on the repetition mainly on the ignorance. Because
Okay.
when the person is ignorant, all those verses are there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it. Now you will understand one thing in this when you analyze the Upanishads. An Upanishad can have more than one prakarna, more than one section. Because it has more than one section, sometimes what someone takes as Upakrama and someone else takes as Upakrama may be different. Similarly, Upasamhara. Okay? Like if you are going to do something like Brihadaranyaka or Chandogya, each is a section. Each is complete by itself. Each section is complete. Each dialogue is complete by itself. Then if you are going to do the whole Upanishad, you will have to take the whole thing is Brahma Vidya, and each prakarna will become now Abhyasa. Each prakarna will become Abhyasa. Can you understand what I am trying to say?
yeah.
Okay. Anybody else wants to say, ask, contribute, anything?
Swamiji, I did some work on Taitriya.
Okay.
I was bouncing it with Satish Bhai. Taitriya, I took Brahmananda Valli, second one. Upakrama Upasamhara is starting with Brahmavida Apnoti Param. highest. Now it ends, that section ends with Eto Vacho Nivartante Aprapya Manasa Saha. Then it asks Kimaham Sadhana Karavam, Kimaham Papam Akaravam. So the person who knows the Brahman, or the Brahmavid, the person who knows Brahman, is not going to be asking himself whether why did I do this papa or why did I not do this punya karma,
Okay.
etc. Because having attained Brahman or having attained moksha, he knows that he is not going to go for a rebirth and
Okay.
therefore it doesn't concern him.
Okay.
Therefore I felt that that upakrama and upasamhara,
Okay.
the person who knows Brahman understand or behaves in this manner. The questions do not really rattle him.
Okay.
Then Abhyasa, while it started off with Brahman, from Brahman, Akasha, and Akasha, Vayu, etc., everything has come from Brahman. The same point is stated in the So Kamayataha, Purusyam Prajaye Eri Satapolyata.
Okay.
The same section it comes. And then also Asatva Idamagra Asi Tato Vai Sadajayate. That is also another Abhyasa.
Yeah.
But the Phala is moksha or Brahman itself, because Brahmavid Apnoti Param.
Yeah. That is already mentioned there. Yeah.
That is the Phala. Then Upapatti, I took it this way, that is the Panchakosha paradigm itself, logically explaining one after the other as Upapatti, and especially it finally finishes with Ananda Atma, Brahma Pucham Pratishtha. So it goes back to Brahman.
Yeah.
Then Arthavada is the Pakshi Kalpana itself is Arthavada. There
Okay.
are 5 sections where it's the head, it's the right
Yeah.
wing, left wing, etc. Then the Ananda calculus, where every time it says Shrotriyasya cha Kamahatasya,
Yeah. That can be taken as Arthavada. Better. Yeah.
Arthavada, one time, 100
Yeah.
times the
Yeah, yeah.
Devagandharvana, etc. Then I don't know whether this also can be taken as Arthavada, that Asat Nevasa Bhavati, Asat Brahmeti Vedas.
Yeah. Arthavada, because criticism of the opposite. Yes.
The person says that Brahman doesn't exist, then he himself doesn't exist.
Yep.
So,
Yes.
Apurvata, I was not able to exactly pinpoint the sense. It is unique in the sense of Panchakosha. The paradigm which is taken is unique. Other than that, it unfolds the knowledge of Brahman, but which is what other Upanishads are also doing.
Yeah. So the Apurvata will be common to all the Upanishads. No?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Brahmavid Apnoti Param can be quoted for Apurvata. Both it can be quoted for.
Okay.
Because something unique, no? Param Apnoti. Not any finite gain. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Nicely done. Yeah. That's nicely done.
Swamiji, just a quick one on that. Even Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma is it's
In fact, that is the main teaching.
that is the main.
That's the main teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, little bit shift here and there can happen, okay? Then you have to go each one carefully to see, okay, let us take this as a fact, okay? But right now I don't want to go into that type of detailing, okay? Yeah. Any questions or clarifications on this? Or anybody else has to add something?
Swamiji, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Swamiji, Kavita said about this phalam and repetition.
Phalam and?
And phalam and repetition.
Abhyasa you mean?
Yeah, abhyasa and phalam.
What is the?
Abhyasa and phalam.
Abhyasa is not phalam. Abhyasa is a repetition.
No.
Then?
I said she talked about abhyasa and phalam
Yeah.
repetition as
True.
well as phalam.
Yeah, some of the Prakarana Granthas do that well, yes. Yeah, that is true. That is true. So everyone is clear with the whole thing? How the Shadlinga Vichara is used to come to the Tatparya. Remember, the most important thing is the Shadlinga Vichara is an analysis of the text to confirm what is the main intention of the text. Okay? What is the intention of the speaker? What is the intention of the teaching? Therefore, the teaching will be analyzed in Shadlinga Vichara. That is not how you will be listening to the teaching. Even though it is put under Shravanam, when you are listening to your teacher, you are not going to say Arthavada, this thing, that thing. You are not going to say all those things. That is idiotic. When you are listening, let the mind go with the words and understand. This is an analysis to see, okay, is it clear? Or is there, sometimes when you listen to some speakers, at the end of it, what exactly was he trying to say? You feel like that, isn't it? What exactly was he trying to say? Or even when you look into an Upanishad, you are studying verse by verse. Therefore, some verses of creation will come into the picture. Like in Taittiriya itself, verses of creation will come in. Panchakosha Viveka will come in. What's all this about? Are these various concepts talked about in Vedanta? Or is it Vedanta talking about one thing alone? That is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. And all that is to highlight that. Therefore, the Tatparya of Vedanta Shastra, any Vedanta Shastra, any text, that is what has to come across in the Shadlinga Vichara. You are doing this so that you are very crystal clear, so that any objection that is raised to Vedanta, which will happen in Mananam. Yeah, your Upanishad is talking about creation. So how can you say there is only one thing? Because he is talking about creation. All religions are supposed to talk about creation. Upanishad also talks about creation, therefore it is a religion. What knowledge, etc. Presenting Ishvara, not Brahman. If such an argument comes up, then you will have to look into it. The creation story is an Arthavada. It is meant to highlight that there is only one, and the many that you see has come from the one, sustained by the one, is going to be resolved into the one. Therefore, what really is there only one. So you have to know where to place what. The theory of creation is not to prove that there is a creation. The theory of creation is to prove that creation is unreal, is mithya. Okay, one question from Taittiriya. How do you get the mithyatvam of the creation from the theory of creation? तस्मात् एतस्मात् आत्मनः आकाश संभूतः आकाशात् वायोर वायोर अग्नि अग्नि आपः अद्भ्य पृथ्वी पृथिव्याम् ओषधयः ओषधीभ्यो अन्नम सवा एष पुरुष अन्नरसमयः, and then goes on pranamaya, manomaya, vijnanamaya, anandamaya, brahmapucham pratishtam. This is the theory of creation in a nutshell. How do you gain the mithyatvam of creation?
Brahmapucham, the basis, Anyonyami Ashraya.
Okay, and connected with what now? Brahmapucham pratishtam should be connected with what?
With all the tanmatras, Akasha, Sambhuta.
No, from etasmat atmana akasha sambhuta. Atma has already been presented as anantam, anandam. Satyam jnanam anantam atma, isn't it? Right in the beginning. Then you are maintaining creation in between and coming back to anandam. So before there is nothing but anandam, after that there is nothing but anandam. In between there is an appearance of creation. So Mithyatvam is a corollary that comes from there. Yeah, Kamini, what do you want to add?
Yeah, it's like how because you are saying that Atma is everything, it's Anantam. When it is Anantam, how can anything come from it?
But it is saying it is coming. Your Upanishad has said it will come.
Yeah, so then we have to understand it that it is.
Because it is Anantam, it cannot come, and still it has come, it has to be taken as Mithya. But the argument can be there, na? Your Upanishad is talking about creation. Giving an elaborate theory for it. Panchikaranam, this, that, everything is there. But it is not to establish creation. Why? The Tatparya of the Upanishad is an Ekam Brahman. One Brahmatma, that's all. Therefore, this analysis, etc., become helpful in understanding. So, even if it is put in Shravanam, if I was writing, I would probably have put it in Mananam. Okay. Yeah. But since this Tatparya Nishchaya is right to be placed in Shravanam itself, even though that's not how you listen. When you are listening to teacher, please, for heaven's sake, stop doing that. Otherwise, nothing will be clear. The teaching will go ahead and you will be stuck with that other statement, which I made half an hour ago. Yeah. Any other questions, clarifications, contributions? I think everyone did a good job. So the Shadlinga Vichara, I hope, is clearer for everyone now. Okay. Then we saw what is Mananam also last time. Correct? Yeah. To consistently question. Two types of questioning. One from my own experiences. I can have a doubt. Other from sustained literature that is available. Schools of thought. From Tarka, from Sankhya, from science, modern Purvapakshas, from other religions. All that it can come. So, you have to answer that in your own mind for your clarity. Debate, etc., is secondary. If you want to get into debates with other schools of thought, that's your choice. But clarity inside is important. Therefore, you will consistently question your understanding. Clear about this, or you have doubts? That's why if you study Bhashya literature, like when we did the Brahma Sutra Bhashyas, you found a lot of arguments against Vedanta being raised by Vedantins themselves, no? By the Bhashyakara himself. That's to bring clarity into it. Mananam, or arguing against Vedanta, is to bring clarity into your understanding and the necessary part of learning, because we are talking about knowledge, not belief. In belief, there is no questioning. मेरा गुरुजी ने बोला है, बस हो गया. That's it. Belief. My text has said this, spiritual text has said this. That is belief. We are not talking about belief, we are talking about knowledge. Therefore, knowledge means it has to be questioned. And you have to be able to answer it. Only then your knowledge has got a clarity about it. That's why the student is asked to do seva to the teacher, pariprashnena sevaya. Like I have this group, we have not met for a couple of months because everyone is busy with the thing, which Karthik and Nirmala set it up. A group which meets once in a month because they are all studying from various sources, just to question. Just ask questions and get clarity. Great way of doing it. Yeah, great way of doing it. Yeah. Mananatmakam. Because when you hear different teachers at different places, there can be seeming contradictions. or not lack of clarity. Yeah. Therefore, all that will come under mananam. All right. Then after mananam comes nididhyasanam. Okay. That is what? Now he is defining in verse 192. Okay. I am going ahead assuming there is no further questions. Okay. All right. He is saying vijatiya dehadi pratyaya rahita advitiya vastu sajatiya pratyaya pravaha nididhyasanam. Vritti pravaha nididhyasanam. This flow of thought is called nididhyasanam. Therefore, nididhyasanam is not absence of thought. Get that clear. What is the thought we will have to see? What is that? Vijatiya dehadi pratyaya rahita. I have pratyas, thoughts. I am the body. But Swamiji, when I am listening to you, I don't have thought I am the body. You have. It's not clear. It's hot here, therefore I kept a glass of water I am drinking. Which is fine when you are listening, because I don't want you to be disturbed by your thirst. So it's perfectly fine. But that is all dehadi pratyaya or not? Your maid calls you. That's one problem in the classes on Zoom. Can't avoid it. Why? Because the home has to run. But that is a vijatiya pratyaya, na? In Shravanam you can tackle it. In Mananam also you can tackle it. In Nididhyasanam you are not supposed to have it. That's why Nididhyasanam is supposed to be done ekante, alone, quiet time or quiet place, or both, quiet place and quiet time, when you are not going to be disturbed by anything. Because Vijatiya Pratyas you are supposed to keep away. How can you keep Vijatiya Pratyas away if your maid is coming and asking you, what am I going to cook? I mean, it's a natural part of living, you can't avoid it. That's why I generally prefer to have a class in a neutral venue. Now you know why I do things like that. Even though it takes effort to travel, this, that, etc. Still. So, Vijatiya Dehadi Pratyaya. That means what? In a way, you have to do Japa Dhyanam and come to the stillness. Why? Because without coming to that stillness, that Shantata, you cannot keep Vijatiya Pratyayas away. Na? How can you keep Vijatiya Pratyayas away? So, to keep Vijatiya Pratyayas away, you need to come to that stillness. And after you come to the stillness, what? Advitiya Vastu Sajatiya Pratyaya Pravaha. Then you have a thought flow in your mind. You introduce a thought flow into your mind. What is that? Advitiya Vastu. The thought flow dealing with Advitiya Vastu. How will you do that? You take a word, I am awareness. From this awareness alone, thought rises, thought dies down. Whole world is nothing but thought of recognition. Therefore, all that is there are only thoughts rising and dropping down into awareness. All that is there is only one awareness. You introduce that. The essence of the teaching is captured in a few thoughts and introduced into your this. Then reduce it into one word, awareness, consciousness. That's it. come down. Awareness, consciousness, that's all that is there. So in that, Nididhyasanam happens. What are you doing this for? Okay. What are you doing it for? This Nididhyasanam is done so that your mind is soaked in this knowledge. You know, Puja Swamiji would always always would give this example. What is that example? He says making rasagullas. This is his favorite example. First you make the gulla, the paneer ball, and then you soak it in the rasa, the sugar syrup. Predominantly sugar syrup, there can be other flavors added to it. Now, when you're making rasagulla, you're not dipping it and taking it out. You're not eating the paneer gulla when using sugar syrup as a dip. That's not sugar, that is not rasagulla. You dip the gulla into the rasa and keep it there for a few hours. Let the rasa permeate the gulla until you cannot really separate the rasa and the gulla. Even if you take your diet conscious, you take it and squeeze it and you eat it, it is still sweet. Though why people squeeze it and eat it, I can't understand that. Okay. Then why are you eating rasagulla? Eat something else. Na? Rasagulla is supposed to be enjoyed with the rasa. So, what is the idea now? The idea is that the rasa permeates the gulla. So, similarly, you sit in Nididhyasanam so that the knowledge permeates your mind. It is always there in the mind. So that even when Vijatiya vrittis come later on, when you are doing something, how can you do something unless you take yourself to be the body? But in spite of that, the knowledge, you are the consciousness, doesn't go out. When life's experiences squeeze you, the gulla is still sweet. The knowledge is not lost, it is there. So that is the whole purpose. Remember one thing, no new knowledge is gained in Nididhyasanam. That's why Nididhyasanam has also been put as jnana abhyasa, repetition of jnanam. Not practice of jnanam. Don't translate abhyasa as practice there. Because you can't practice knowledge. You can practice knowledge only if it is something like cooking or computing or coding or something like that. Then you can practice. Yeah, then you can practice. Yeah, then you can practice it. But here, it is repetition of knowledge. Jnana abhyasa, you are repeating the knowledge. Why? Because you want to soak your mind in that knowledge. Because knowledge happens only in the mind. Atma doesn't have the problem. Atma doesn't have the problem of finitude and unhappiness and everything. Your mind has that. Therefore, manasa eva anudrashtavyam. That means, actually speaking, every Nididhyasanam, you are repeating akhandakara vritti without really calling it like that. Repeating that. Other thoughts come up. You take another word, process it. Take another verse. It doesn't matter what you take. The essence of the teaching should be summed up. Why am I saying essence of the teaching? Because the teaching can be elaborate. Na? There will be arthavada, there will be upapatti. You don't need all that in Nididhyasanam. All that is over in Shravanam. There will be stories, there will be humor, all that highlighting something. So in Nididhyasana, you are not supposed to remember the joke and start laughing. Joke and all over, that's for highlighting. Then I'll never get tired of repeating this, because there is this problem that many Vedantins also fall through. That knowledge takes place in Nididhyasana. And they cite examples of Buddha, etc. I come across a lot of Vedantic teachers also falling for this. Can happen. How does it happen is a question. Remember my old example? How I was at a party, and when I am called for a dinner or something like that, what do I talk about? I don't want to talk about any spiritual thing. They all are moving with glasses of spirit in their hand anyway. So मैं क्या और spirituality बोलूँ उनको? That's not appropriate there. So I'll normally tell a story or make a social comment. Now there is a lot to talk about for the next 1 year. Kashmir files. The inquisitions and go, all that is coming out now. The Mopla riots. Both are. One thing has triggered out of a lot of things. Good. Enough socio-political stuff. Keep away from hardcore Vedanta anyway. Not appropriate there. Or crack a joke. General dinner, what else do you do? I remember one Christmas dinner, I took my tarot cards. One of my friends is not a practicing Christian. He is more Hindu than Christian. But he likes to celebrate Christmas Eve with a party, So I said, half the characters I don't even know. So he told me, Swamiji, will you get your tarot cards? I said, sure. Problem solved. Na sabke liye tarot card, I will do a reading for everyone. Before you know it, dinner is served, have dinner and come back. Okay. Everyone is happy. Arey, we got some insights. Nice. Acha hi hai. Problem solved for me. And believe me, I got a couple of good students in the class because of that tarot reading. Very good students, okay. Sunita and Suresh. I met them there at that party. So now I'm quite okay going to parties also, because you never know where good people land up. Okay. So in a party like that, after the party was over, this was in town. So one of the guys who had come there is a friend of mine. He stays in Vashi. He said, Swamiji, I am going to Vashi. Sardar tha. Is related to that. It's a true story. I am not joking. Okay. It happened in Anjali Hazare's house. Some of you know Anjali Hazare. And this was her cousin. Okay. So Sardar said, हम आपको छोड़ेंगे, चुमुर से तो जाना पड़ता है हमको वाशी में. ऐसा ठीक है, बहुत अच्छा है. It's already 1 o'clock in the night, so public transport is not there. Anyway, I'll have to take a cab or something. So fine, drop me. So only he and I are there sitting in the car, and we are driving down. Suddenly he starts laughing. He said, Sirji, I didn't crack any joke now, why are you laughing? अरे स्वामी जी क्या बोलूँ, अभी समझा. आप जो जोक बोला ना, हम भी हंसा था, तभी सब जन हंसा, हम भी हंस गया, लेकिन समझा नहीं था. I said, not a wonder, I know whom you are talking to. जी वो तो होता है ना पार्टी में. I said, हाँ मालूम है, होता है. He was distracted by somebody. He didn't catch my joke, but he laughed because everyone was laughing. And now it clicked for him. Why? Quietly driving now. 1 o'clock in the night when you are driving in Bombay, it's all peaceful. So no distraction, nothing, only both of us sitting and he's driving. Quiet in mind, the words clicked. You remember, he laughed for my joke, he didn't laugh for anything else. He laughed for my words. It clicked later. Similarly, all those who claim that it was clicked for them in Nididhyasanam, understand this. When you quieten your mind, when Vijatiya vrittis were kept away, the Brahma-akara vritti which was supposed to happen in Shravanam didn't happen there, happened now. It clicked now. The words clicked. थोड़ा delayed reaction, tube-light reaction हो गया, 8-9. Swamiji, how can you call Buddha tube-light? I am not calling Buddha tube-light. Why? Because Buddha never had systematic studies. He would come discuss Vedanta with a group of sadhus, then he would go sit under the Bodhi tree. That Bodhi tree again is highlighted too much. See, every sadhu will have some favorite place to sit. You know. Every sadhu will have. Years ago, before the Rishikesh ashram developed so much, I had my favorite place to sit on the banks of the Ganges. I would take my lunch also there and sit down there and eat it. Anyway, भिक्षा था ना, तो उधर ही बैठ के खा लो. So he also had, and that was probably the tree. So one day sitting under the tree, everything clicked for him. Because systematic teaching was not there in his life. Because when a very famous man goes to learn, many people may not formally want him as a student. May not want him. Why? You create too much of disturbance in the ashram. Have you thought about that? Just imagine if I set up an ashram, which I will, God willing, and some celebrity wants to come and study. Problem हो जाएगा. It create too much of disturbance in the ashram, isn't it? You all can't imagine the disturbance? Imagine Aishwarya Rai wants to come and study. Maybe half a dozen photographers outside, there, whole disturbance. Ashram atmosphere is disturbed. Bhagana padega sabko. So similarly, the king is walked out to study. Narendra Modi came to meet Puja Swamiji before his samadhi. Oh my God, no security hassles was there. Whole ashram. Yeah. I know I was collaborating with some of the security characters, pointing out where the risk factors can be there. Because I know the lay of the land well. Na? I know where ambushes can take place, where snipers can be set up. Yeah. Everyone had a separate I-card issued, everything. So similarly, Prince Siddhartha has walked out. How many people will want him as a student? That is one part. The other part is, will he be able to go and study from anyone and everyone? Yeah. Can't go and study from anyone and everyone. Na? You have a standing there. Narendra Modi could come to my teacher, not to me. Na? Naturally, because he needs somebody of stature. It is not a criticism, it is a factual thing. Keeping all this in mind, the systematic teaching that was what a student needs, he didn't get. Therefore, that Bodhi tree meditation got highlighted. And there are 3-4 trees there, every tree claiming to be the original original Bodhi tree, okay? And people go and sit down under that and meditate, hoping that some gyan will happen. And I always think it's a pity there is no fruit on that tree. Koi acha bhopla jaisa nice fruit would have been, there will be good. Realization will happen, if it falls on their heads. Even a mango is good enough. So, Nothing new is gained. It is the same knowledge that's repeated. Okay. After this, he is going into various forms of samadhi. Now we have two options. Either we can go into the verses dealing with samadhi, or we can have a little bit of nididhyasana. What would you all prefer? Okay, done. All right. So there are about 20 minutes. Let us do some nididhyasana. Okay. For that, okay. Remember, as I said, vijatiya vrittis has to be kept aside. That's what the author was saying. Sadanandaji was saying that. So for vijatiya vrittis to be kept aside, it is necessary to focus on the fact time silence. So from the fact time silence, I will introduce Vedanta teaching into that after we reach Japadhyana. Okay. So it will be one flow. I won't say this much is this much is this, etc. The whole thing will be one flow. Okay. So we sit comfortably erect. Those of you, one or two of you are not well, etc., you can recline. Okay. Those who are not well, back injuries, etc., please recline, not a problem. Only keep your mind alert, that's it. Because when you recline, there is a tendency to go to sleep. As long as you keep your mind alert, fine. Okay. And as usual, we start with little bit body awareness, so that we see that every part is relaxed. Because we are supposed to keep Dehatma Pratyaya away, we will first focus on the body, see that it is relaxed, so that the body does not impinge into your functioning consciousness. Okay. Yeah. So sit erect, eyes and mouth gently closed, facial muscles relaxed, neck muscles relaxed, shoulders, arms, forearms, palms and fingers all relaxed. Chest muscles relaxed, stomach relaxed, waist and hips relaxed, sides, upper back, lower back relaxed, whole pelvic girdle relaxed, thigh muscles relaxed, front and back both relaxed, knees, calf muscles and shin relaxed, ankles, feet and toes relaxed. Just to help you quieten your mind further, pay attention on your breathing. Breathing happens, you are only watching it, witnessing it. Start by feeling the breath at the tip of your nostrils. And feel the air at the back of your nose. Feel the air in your throat. Gently entering your lungs and expanding them. The expansion of your lungs will not happen unless the diaphragm moves down. Can you sense that? And when the diaphragm is only moving down, not outwards, you will feel the slight pressure below the navel as well. All this is a function of your breath. Witness that. Now, to invoke the devotee out of yourself for the meditation, invoke the Lord in whatever form you can relate to and offer a Manasa Puja. Make it as vivid as you can. Make this puja as vivid as you can. Take the arati plate for the final arati. The final arati is always camphor. Strike that camphor with a match. See it flaring up. Offer the arati to the Lord. See the Lord's face being lighted up in the light of the camphor. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidito bhantihi kuto yamakdihi tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. Put the arati plate down, take the arati yourself. And now we sit down for a japa. Prostrate to the Lord and sit down for the japa. In the japa, there is only focus on the silence between the chanting. Om Ishaya Namaha. 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 Before the chant, the silence. After the chant, the silence. You are that silence from where the chant comes, into which the chant dies down. Watch again. The chant is born in you, the silence, dies down into you, the silence. Om Ishaya Namaha. 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 The thought is born in you, the thought dies down into you. You are that silence. Silence awareness. Awareness that is silence. That silence is nothing but you awareness. Free from any thought. Even when thoughts come and go, what remains is one silence awareness. No thought can disturb the silence that you are. Exactly like how a wave cannot displace the ocean that is nothing but water. In the beginning, you will feel, I am that silence awareness. Everything else is external to me. But the teaching is the other way around. What is in front of you is nothing but space. That space is nothing but in your mind alone. That mind is in consciousness. Therefore, in front of you, what is there is one consciousness. Behind your body, there is space. That space is in your mind as a concept. Mind is in consciousness. What is behind is consciousness. To the left and right, all that is there is consciousness alone. This body is manifest in consciousness. There is consciousness outside, consciousness within. In fact, the body is just an appearance. Mind is just an appearance. What I am is nothing but pure consciousness. One ocean of consciousness, including all space, time and everything. That consciousness alone I am. Everything is in me. Nothing touches me. I am that consciousness. Consciousness alone I am. In me, the consciousness, thoughts are born and thoughts die down. The whole world is nothing but a thought. Born in consciousness, dies down into consciousness. With consciousness alone I am. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. You can open your eyes, cup them if you want to, and come back to normal thinking. So this refocusing on the essence of the teaching is what we call nididhyasana. Okay? There is thinking. It is not absence of thought. Absence of thought was into that silence awareness. After that you introduce the essence of the teaching without too much of elaborateness. Many of you are quoting Mundaka. That's why I took that verse from the Mundaka. What is there in front, back, everything. I took that verse and said, okay, here it is. The verse itself you use for meditation, contemplation. That's why you don't use the word meditation generally for nididhyasana, you use the word contemplation. Just a difference we have made just to highlight that it's different, that's all. Any questions or clarifications on this? Then what is samadhi? What are the obstacles to this? All that he himself will talk about. Okay, there is an elaborate description here. Samadhi, the nature and varieties of samadhi, savikalpa, nirvikalpa, all that he talks about. Okay, from the standpoint of Vedanta, the comparison of samadhi and sleep is also there. Okay, what is andha samadhi also will become clear. Okay. Okay. All that we will see. Then of course after that we will go into the eightfold practice of yoga, redefined slightly from the standpoint of Vedanta, and that completes the picture. Then Jivan Mukta Lakshana also I think is there in that. Yeah. Once you do all this thing, what is the Jivan Mukta? That is also there. Completed. And I hope by the time we complete this text, we can start meeting live as well. For those who are out of town, the online option will be open. Yeah. So, good place to stop. Om Tat Sat.